Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to all of you who've come here to this splendid setting in Knockbrake Farm. And as you know, we're here to celebrate the marriage of Jonathan and Caroline. And so they, I know, are both delighted that all of you are able to be here with them to share their happiness today and to witness the commitment that they will shortly be making to one another. So Jonathan obviously is here, Caroline is not far away, so in order to get things underway, could I now ask Lorraine and Gordon to step forward and share a little music with us.
Lightning takes its time, it lingers in the night and lights the darkest skies without a warning. You were just the same, waiting for the day to fall into my life one summer morning. I searched forever through the blue. I spent the hours of my youth. Just when I thought I was through, I found you. I long far away for everything to change, and finally I'd have what I've been seeking. A sudden gust of wind from nowhere we begin. It's like I dreamed you up when I was sleeping. I searched forever through the blue. I spent the hours of my youth, and just when I thought I was through, I found you. Forever through the blue, spent the hours of my youth, and just when I thought I was through, I found you.
Thank you, Lorraine and Gordon. Well, my name is Paul Harkin and I represent the Humanist Society of Scotland. Caroline and Jonathan have chosen a humanist ceremony today to celebrate their marriage in a warm, relaxed and hopefully enjoyable ceremony which reflects their own commitment to love and equality. And today, of course, is exactly that. It's a celebration of love, commitment, friendship and family. But of course, both Caroline and Jonathan are well aware that you don't need a wedding in order to have these things in your life. So why are we all here today? We have thousands of important moments that happen throughout our lives, but this one, they feel, is particularly special, the commitment to the one that we love. It is so significant that we acknowledge its special status by sharing it with the others who are special to us. Caroline and Jonathan say, despite our differences, love is all that we share. It's the great unifier. No matter who we are, where we've come from, what we believe, we know this one thing. The ability to love is the very best part of our humanity. All of us here today have our own stories. Some are short, others long. Some are yet unwritten, while others are just getting to the good part. There are chapters in all of our stories that are sad or disappointing, and others that are exciting and full of adventure. Caroline and Jonathan's own story began 3.5 years ago with a simple drink in Cottier's Bar. They began to share many adventures and experiences, and what began as a friendship slowly developed into a deeply loving relationship. And over time, they introduced one another to their families and friends, and as their lives became entwined, it seemed natural to them to talk about a committed future together. Which brings us, of course, to today, to celebrate their love and the commitment that they are making to one another today.
I know. That's it.
Well, love itself, of course, can often defy words and explanation. So now we're going to have some lovely words about marriage and about love, read for us by two of Caroline and Jonathan's dearest friends, William and Shan.
The art of marriage. Happiness in marriage is not something that just happens. A good marriage must be created. In the art of marriage, the little things are the big things. It is never being too old to hold hands. It is remembering to say, I love you, at least once a day. It is never going to sleep angry. It is at no time taking the other for granted. The courtship should not end with the honeymoon. It should continue through all the years. It is having a mutual sense of values and common objectives. It is standing, facing the crowd. It is forming a circle of love that gathers in the whole family. It is doing things for each other, not in the attitude of duty or sacrifice, but in the spirit of joy. It is speaking words of appreciation and demonstrating gratitude in thoughtful ways. It is not looking for perfection in each other. It is cultivating flexibility, patience, understanding, and a sense of humour. It is having the capacity to forgive and forget. It is giving each other an atmosphere in which each can grow. It is finding room for the things of the Spirit. It is a common search for the good and the beautiful. It is establishing a relationship in which the independence is equal, dependence is mutual, and the obligation is reciprocal. It is not only marrying the right partner, it is being the right partner. It is discovering what marriage can be at its best.
These are the words of Louis de Bernier from Captain Corelli's Mandolin. Sorry. Said I wouldn't do this. Love is a temporary madness. It erupts like volcanoes and then subsides. And when it subsides, you have to make a decision. You have to work out whether your roots were so entwined together that it is inconceivable that you should ever part, because this is what love is. Love is not breathlessness, it is not excitement. It is not the promises of eternal passion. That is just being in love, which any fool can do. Love itself is what is left over when being in love has burned away, and this is both an art and a fortunate accident. Those that truly love have roots that grow towards each other, often underground, and when all the pretty blossom has fallen from their branches, they find that they are one tree and not two.
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the central part of our ceremony today, the vows that Caroline and Jonathan are going to make to each other, expressing the nature of the commitment they are making today. So, Caroline and Jonathan, you are here today in front of all of your friends and family to declare your commitment to one another by making promises which are meaningful to both of you and which reflect the nature of your loving relationship.
Jonathan, I love you so much. And I'm so happy to have found you. And I promise I shall never take you or our wonderful relationship for granted. I promise to do whatever I can to keep our lives together, full of fun and laughter, excitement, warmth, passion, love and understanding. I shall always be by your side through all of life's challenges and adventures. And I promise to be honest and faithful and to give you the same love, trust and respect that you've always given to me.
Caroline, you have brought joy and deep contentment to my life. I promise to always value you and never take our relationship for granted. I will strive every day to do the small things that make it work. I promise to listen to you, understand you, and support you unconditionally in all your endeavours, and walk with you through all the joy and sadness life brings. I promise to do everything in my power to keep our lives full of adventures, laughter, passion and love. And I promise to be honest and faithful and give you the same love, trust and respect that you've always given me.
Well, now we come to the legal part of the ceremony, and now Caroline and Jonathan are going to say the words to each other which will carry them over the threshold into marriage. So Jonathan, could you please repeat after me? I, Jonathan Miller,
I, Jonathan Miller,
solemnly and sincerely declare
solemnly and sincerely declare
that I accept you, Caroline Tyler,
that I accept you, Caroline Tyler,
in marriage.
in marriage.
Thank you. And Caroline, would you please repeat after me? I, Caroline Tyler,
I, Caroline Tyler,
solemnly and sincerely declare
solemnly and sincerely declare
that I accept you, Jonathan Miller,
that I accept you, Jonathan Miller,
in marriage.
in marriage.
Thank you. Well, now to symbolise the love that they share for each other and the bond between them, Caroline and Jonathan are now going to exchange rings. So could I ask Jonathan's niece, Sarah, to step forward with the rings? Thank you very much. Okay. So Jonathan, could you take Caroline's ring and just place it on the tip of her finger
Let's do that.
and repeat after me. Caroline, I give you this ring
Caroline, I give you this ring
as a token of my love for you.
as a token of my love for you.
It represents the vows I have made today
It represents the vows I made today
and my commitment to our marriage.
and my commitment to our marriage.
And place the ring on her finger. Great. Okay, now Caroline, could you take Jonathan's ring and place it on the tip of his finger and repeat after me. Jonathan, I give you this ring
Jonathan, I give you this ring
as a token of my love for you.
as a token of my love for you.
It represents the vows I have made today
It represents the vows I have made today
and my commitment to our marriage.
and my commitment to our marriage.
That's it. Place the ring on his finger.
There we go.
Go on. We'll go on.
Never mind.
That'll do. There we are, perfect.
Fantastic. Great. Caroline and Jonathan, you have now made a binding commitment to each other by means of the declarations that you have made. And it gives me tremendous pleasure to pronounce you both married. You may now share your first kiss as husband and wife.
Of course. Well done, Sarah. Good job.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be signing the paperwork just here for the next few moments. As we do that, we're going to listen to some music chosen by Caroline and Jonathan's friend Claire. And could I also ask Molly and Callum to step forward as the witnesses, please?
True love will find you in the end. You'll find out just who was your friend. don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end. This is a promise with a catch. Only if you're looking can it find you.
Well now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring our ceremony to a close with these words chosen by Jonathan and Caroline by James Dillett Freeman. May your marriage bring you all the exquisite excitements a marriage should bring. May you need one another, but not out of weakness. May you want one another, but not out of lack. May you look for things to praise, often say, I love you, and take no notice of small faults. May you have happiness, and may you find it making one another happy. May you have love, and may you find it loving one another. Caroline and Jonathan, I'm sure that everybody here shares your happiness and joins me in offering you both congratulations and best wishes on your marriage and on your continuing life together. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please stand? I present the bride and groom, Caroline and Jonathan. Okay, let's go. Thank you.
Right, that's it, we really did it.
Welcome everyone. Can I suggest those that have their backs to us, who thought they'd want to watch, it might be easier for you if you kind of were to swivel your chair around a little bit so that you get to see the full show. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, I'm William, more commonly known as Bill. My role today is to make sure that you are where you need to be at the appropriate time. And to help ensure that Caroline and Jonathan's day runs as smoothly as possible. I've known Jonathan for some 23, 24 years, kind of worked it out just the other day actually. And I have to admit I felt very privileged when asked to play a part in this wedding. Given the fact that Jonathan has a wide circle of friends, I have to admit I did inquire as to why me. The response, which I thought, yeah, I felt good about the response initially. It was to the effect that, there was a reading and he felt that, I'd been married to Sandra here for 25 years and that therefore I could give that reading a bit of gravitas, because I know all about marriage and the art of marriage. It kind of went downhill after that. It was the fact that when I was suited and booted, I looked more like a bouncer. That he was confident that seeing as I really don't do humour, that I would make him look good. And that he wanted his real mates to come to the wedding and have no pressures and enjoy themselves. So I'm sure, there was a compliment in there somewhere. Now, can I just go back to the reading that I did, The Art of Marriage by W.A. Peterson. It actually made me think about my relationship with Sandra and what keeps us together. What are our strengths? We still hold hands in public, which I think is good. We are compatible, and I'd like to share like an example of this compatibility with Jonathan and Caroline. Sandra likes to shout, and thankfully I like to be shouted at. Okay, I mean that and the fact that she works constant night shift and nearly every weekend is probably a good reason as to why we're still together after all this time. What a terrific setting we have here for this wondrous occasion. I thought it was just perfect that there was a little bit of drizzle of rain earlier on, but ultimately the right moment, the sun shone, which I thought, yeah, nice one. Thank you to Helena and the Rogers family for making this venue available. There are some people here that have travelled far. There are some that have travelled from the West End, which is probably coming out here into the countryside is quite alien. But there are others, such as a big shout out for Gordon and Natalie. Where are Gordon and Natalie? Yep, from Germany. Okay. It's a Guten Tag. Jonathan's niece, Abigail, from the Netherlands. Yeah, where's Abigail? Yo, okay. And then there's a good quota of Millers who've come from down south from the dark side. I actually worked with Jonathan's dad Willie back in the mid-80s. Long before I knew Jonathan, actually. It actually took a little bit of time for me to ultimately make the connection. So therefore, it doesn't come as much of a surprise to me as to how far the Millers will travel for a party. So it's... I suppose whilst I'm on my feet, I should take the opportunity to say a few words about Jonathan, our groom. I think it's expected that he gets slated on this day. I have to admit, I find that quite difficult to do because he's a good, decent human being. Okay, he might not be the most handsome. He might be a bit of an aggravating and opinionated little shit with his political and social views, but there's clearly something there that captured Caroline's heart, and aren't we all thankful for that? So if you think, what brought them together? What brought them together really was it was a drunken night out with Jonathan and Ian Wright here. So that was the kind of catalyst for this. For the price of a few drinks, actually, Ian will possibly elaborate on whether or not there was, or whether the rumours of the alleged assault on the chip actually happened. But ultimately, this night led to a broken thumb for Jonathan on the way home. Apparently, the curb moved. So, as a result of that broken thumb, it meant that he could no longer swipe. So therefore, his dating technique on Tinder was canned completely. Okay, and it was probably all that constant right swiping that actually led to the weakened thumb, which made it easier to break. Okay, I mean, I could actually, I could sort of regale you with a few stories of Jonathan's Tinder ventures, but we are on a tight time schedule, and we won't allow for that additional 3 seconds. So, so as a result of the thumb incident, he joined a more upmarket dating site, and the rest, as they say, is history. That was it was a sad day indeed. For those singletons, when Caroline removed her profile from the website. The removal of Jonathan's, though, went pretty well unnoticed. It was... But it was clear early on in the relationship that that Jonathan was quite smitten by Caroline. His friends, though, thought there was an issue, simply because he would pitch up after a date with Caroline looking battered and bruised. And so we had our concerns. So we did a little bit of research, because Jonathan was quite coy as to who he was seeing, but he let a few things slip, and we managed to locate her on through the World Wide Web. What a wonderful thing that is. And once we actually understood what Caroline did, then it made so much more sense. Because ultimately, the bruising was self-inflicted. After a date with Caroline, he would go home, he would pinch and slap himself till he was black and blue, just to make sure it wasn't some kind of hypnotic dream. But if we go back to the reading for a moment, there was one line, though, which I thought actually Jonathan had added in himself. I didn't appreciate that it was part of the original statement by William Peterson. And that was it was right at the start, and it's the comment is, it's the little things are the big things. You know, and if you know, if Jonathan keeps repeating this mantra, he'll start to believe it. And you know, those insecurities, which were no doubt brought on by his school days at Fettes, you know, will become a thing of the past and will disappear. But anyway, but now the first and the most important part of the day has been completed successfully, which is the marriage of Caroline and Jonathan. It's now up to us, family and friends, to continue this and make this like the most memorable day, a day filled with joy and laughter. So, to start the celebration, could you please be upstanding and raise your glass to toast the bride and groom.
Wow. What can I say? What can I say to that? Bloody hell. I know more about myself now than I did before. Thank you so much. Thanks, Bill. On behalf of my wife and I, I'd like to thank you all for joining us on this wonderful day. I feel very privileged indeed to be able to share this day with you all in such a beautiful place. Seeing you all here together like this reminds me how important it is to share the special moments in life with family and friends. So thank you all for being here and making this day so special for us. And may I say, thank you. And may I say, you all look absolutely wonderful. So much so that a lot of you are completely unrecognizable. So as I said, we are very lucky to be here in this beautiful location, which, as you may have noticed, is a working dairy farm. Apart from the cows, there are a few other animals as well. Unfortunately, when I arrived here, I ran over a cockerel. So I went to the farmhouse and spoke to Mrs. Rogers. I'm afraid I killed your cockerel, I said, but I'd like to replace it. Please yourself, she said, the hens are round the back. But before I go any further, a few words of thanks to Bill for his most excellent speech. Honestly, I didn't expect any of that. So Bill's actual job was to help me out today, to give me moral support, but most importantly, to use the pub bouncer experience to get a lot of you out of here at the end of the night. But on a more serious note, as some of you also know, a little over a year ago, not long after me and Caroline got engaged, Bill was taken suddenly and seriously ill with a heart attack. It was then, in those long, dark, early days of recovery, I ask Bill to do me the great honour of standing by my side today, to support me, to carry chairs, tip the waiters, to help with the clearing up long after Carol and I have left, to look after all the small things that really we couldn't be bothered with. Thank you, he said, his voice cracking with emotion. At last, I truly have something to live for. Thank you, Bill, for everything you've done today. And now I'd like to say a few words about my beautiful wife, Caroline. I cannot believe how lucky I am to have met her and to be able to share my life with her. As some of you know, Caroline doesn't think it was luck, or luck had anything to do with it. But either way, whether it's due to the alignment of the cosmos or sheer good fortune, I find myself here on my wedding day with all of you and with a truly amazing woman to spend the rest of my life with. Over the years since we met, I've learned so much from Caroline. You've always told me that one becomes the average of the people you spend the most time with. And so I've become more patient, more kind, tolerant, just from being with you. My life has immeasurably changed since I met you. You've given me your unwavering support and advice when I needed it, as well as so much love, laughter, and adventures. My life is so much richer for knowing you, and I'm excited to know what life holds for us in the future. I learn from you every day. For example, that swearing at other drivers doesn't get me there any faster. That it's possible to have salad as a main course. And finally, that in the end, good things happen to good people. And talking of good people, I'm delighted to say Caroline has a few words for us too. But just before I hand over to her, I would just like to say, Caroline, you're wonderful, beautiful, and kind. And I'm so happy and proud to call you my wife today.
Hello. I have never done this before. But I had so many people that I wanted to say thank you to that I thought that I would make a speech. But making a speech, this is my first time. So I thought I would do it in the medium of rhyme. There are so many thanks to give and be got. We're in double figures. A hell of a lot of people have helped us to make today wow. And I honour you here the only way I know how. If this reads like a roll call, please know from the start that I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. Now it's Lorraine and Gordon who started the day. Such a beautiful song, You Blew Me Away. Flora and Sarah, so cute and so cool. As Flower Girl and Ring Bearer, you totally rule. And Mums Tori and Caroline got the girls dressed. Hats off to you for handling the stress of Monsoon online. They were a pain from the start. But I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. Now, my boy Max, never conventional. Fantastic pink jacket for the wedding processional. The words what we wrote were delivered by Paul in a ceremony so moving in front of you all. Friend Shan and friend William read readings so fine, and Molly and Callum signed on the line. And then we were married, and Jim's magic could start. And I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. And here we now are in the gorgeous tin shed, and it's the best place to be if you want to be fed. Teams Reagan and Helena, with food and with drinks, were stars, one and all, and I totally thinks met all our requirements without hesitations. For the vegans, the veggies, and those damn pescatarians. We'll eat and be merry. I bet you can't wait to start. And I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. Now, just look at the tables with jam jars aplenty. They didn't collect themselves. They had to be empty and clean and delabeled. And it was a job for the brave. So Angie and Anna and Monica gave their time and their fingernails, and Joanne stepped up too, as did neighbours and friends, the Geely Jar crew. Operation Jarmageddon was a success from the start. I didn't make that up, actually. Anna made that up, so I have to credit her. And I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. Plus Joanne, where are you? I should know. 25 years ago, if I make no mistake, gave birth to Lily, who baked our fabulous cake, adorned with fruits and flowers and glorious berries from the garden of Helen, who was wonderfully generous. But I have to apologise to Jonathan's mum. She was quite unaware of the decimation to come. I'm sure they'll grow back if you give them a start. And I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. Now, talking of mums, well, I have one too. And her gift to us for a wedding day do is a festival-style film made by Kieran and Jess to capture the smiles, the tears, my fabulous dress. In our dotage, what fun it will be to watch it and say, what a lovely young couple. Yes, dear, who are they? Memories captured mark our married life start, and I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. Now, this much bunting doesn't come cheap, so Angela volunteered to transform a heap of old bed sheets into something utterly magical. But 20 yards in, it all turned quite tragical. We watched in dismay, and this is no joke. Angela's sewing machine went up in smoke. But Angie's no quitter. It was clear from the start, and I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. Now, I had to rewrite this one. Now, Dr. Mike's in the house. He'll take to the stage. I know it's hard to imagine for a man of his age. He'll get you up dancing, to twist and to shout, but don't go to him if you put your back out. And there's more thanks to give to the wonderful friends who pitched up yesterday to go to all ends to make this place look fab. With great skill and devotion, the Wedfest team, Zoe and Nikki, Craig Shan and my Jonathan. You made it such fun to the end from the start, and I'm thanking you all from the bottom of my heart. And finally, not yet. And finally, yes, we are near to the end. I want to give thanks to two incredible friends, to Shan and to Nikki, who carried me through the planning, the dress hunting, the hair curling too. Your patience, remarkable, not even a frown on a 90-mile round trip when I had forgotten my gown. And now to Jonathan Miller. You are the love of my life. And I'm so happy today we are husband and wife. You are wonderful, but I knew that right from the start, and I will love you for always with all of my heart. Now, that's not actually the end. I've got some other people I want to thank, but I'd kind of had it. You can clap at that if you want. So, yeah, I'd kind of had it with rhyming couplets. So when Jonathan and I got together, obviously I knew Jonathan didn't come alone, but I had no idea about the wonderful Big Miller clan and the fantastic circle of friends. And I would like to thank you all for the ways in which you've made me feel very, very welcome. But welcoming me into your family or into your social circle is one thing. Welcoming me into your home is quite another. And, ooh, emotional. There are two people who deserve a very special mention, and that's Maddie and Felix, Jonathan's two youngest children, who have been so kind and have made me feel very welcome in their home, and I want to thank them especially. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand over to Nikki, who's going to say a few words.
Oh, God. I feel a bit duped because all four of us have been really, really quite stressed about speeches all day, and they all assured me that theirs were crap. And that's turned out not to be the case. And Caroline, that was an exceptional poem, by the way. So I'm quite nervous now, and the irony is I'm going to start. I work as a hypnotherapist, and over the years I have had many clients come to me, men of all ages, kind of from 19-year-old boys through to 60-year-old men, terrified about giving a best man speech. And I used to sit with these guys and coach them and do hypnotherapy with them and think two things. I used to think, come on, guys, you've given these talks at work and, you know, you'll be fine. What's the big deal? And I used to also think, bloody hell, what a relief that being a woman means I'll never have to give a best man type speech. And then Caroline asked me to do it. And I understand the panic now, and I have been seeking therapists around the country to try and help me, because the second I was asked to do it, my head went completely blank of what to say. And then it occurred to me that I would suddenly have an opportunity in my life to say the words, "Can we please be upstanding?" which I've never had cause to say before, but felt quite excited about the thought. I'm not saying it now yet, I'll get to that, but I felt very excited about the thought of having these words to say. But it was an alarming thing to find myself in this position, because I was asked to be what, best man, then best woman, then maid of honour, then bridesmaid, and we don't really know what the title was. But when you're best man, your job is to kind of take the mickey a bit out of the groom and to adore the bride. But if you're the bride's best man and you don't know the groom very well, it's a bit awkward suddenly. I don't know quite what to do. So my head went completely blank. And I've spent the last 3 weeks waiting for inspiration to kick in. And I find myself thinking back over our friendship and when we met and how we met. And Caroline and I met, I think it was about 11 years ago, on day one of a hypnotherapy course that we went on together. And I remember that moment where Caroline came up to me, this blonde kind of bombshell type woman with these beaming blue eyes and this beaming smile, with a ball of green goo in her hand, one of which she may have in her handbag now. It was like an energy ball thing that was just constantly being munched on, and asked me to go for coffee. And we went for coffee and we yapped. And you said to me that you had come into the room and you had seen me across the room and you had done a scan and you thought, I want to be friends with her. Quite, very direct, very just clear about what you want in life. And I was very touched by it. And we went for coffee and we yapped, and we yapped about all kinds of things. And over the years, we did become very, very, very close friends. And because of the nature of the way that we met, we were doing our hypnotherapy training together, which requires an awful lot of soul searching. And in the course of that, we had so much laughing, we had a lot of bubbling, we had a lot of listening, and a lot of support given. And that was interspersed with moments where we got very drunk. And we spent one evening, I recall, in your kitchen, inhaling helium balloons and singing Amazing Grace to one another. Yes. I don't know where we stole the helium balloons from your daughter's charity, Kaylee, in fact. We stole the helium balloons and we spent an entire, 2-3 hours back in your kitchen inhaling them and singing Amazing Grace and Sound of Music songs at one another, I seem to recall. And another night where we had gone to a Neil Diamond concert and we were trying to run to get there on time, and there was a wee chip van selling things along the way, and I had a fag, and I was trying to work out where to put my cigarette butt, and I saw this big bin, and I picked up the lid and I stuffed my fag out and threw it in, and then realised to my horror that I'd thrown my chip butt into a big vat of freshly cut chips waiting to go into the fryer. So we've had all kinds of fun alongside the laughing and so on. But in amongst this friendship, Caroline, I think we've also had our trials and tribulations in our friendship, and I can honestly say to you, I have learned a great deal from you about friendship and about love and about trust and about things tearing and us repairing them, and how important these things are in life, and how to, have relationships and to trust. And that's meant a huge deal to me. So when you asked me to do this horrific task of being mate of honour, best man, I don't know what, I was really deeply touched by it. And in the course of that friendship, we went on to make the beginnings of what were very big changes in our respective futures. We went through a lot of things together, learning things about each other, making changes, making really brave decisions, exploring really brave things that were going to be the beginnings of the way our futures have unfolded. And it was in this time that we learned about cosmic ordering. So Jonathan laughs about, it was luck. And Caroline says, no, it was cosmic ordering. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with cosmic ordering or the law of attraction, but generally the rule is Where your attention goes, the energy flows, and what you ask for, you will bring into your life. And whether you believe in this or not, it turns out Caroline was very, very, very good at it. So I was in a big fat huff with the universe because I couldn't even create a parking space for myself, which is, everybody says the way to start is ask for a parking space. And when you pull into the car park, you know, a car will pull out and that will be your space. Never for me. So I was in a huff about everything. And Caroline was very good at it. I remember her saying to me one day on the early days of the early starts, I really fancy a pair of black leather gloves. I see myself with some black leather gloves. And 3 days later, you went into work and you were under the counter at work to try and find something. And this pair of black leather gloves were there, right? And suddenly, and you asked, you know, who do these black leather gloves belong to? And the answer was, well, no one. They've been in that lost and found box for 4 years. Have you never seen them? So suddenly you had a pair of black leather gloves. And then you decide you want a bicycle one day. And you decided you wanted to cycle to work. So you asked for a bicycle. And a friend texted you and said, look, I'm getting rid of this bike. Do you know anybody that wants a bike? And suddenly you've got a bike. And so these extraordinary cosmic ordering skills came from Caroline. So she suddenly thought, ooh, what else can I apply these skills to? How else might I make this work? And so she decided to sit down with a pen and paper one day and write down a list of all the things she wanted from the person that she wanted to bring into her life, which she did. Quite specifically, I believe. It's about 2 A4 pages of a list, and it is not a small thing. Now, Jonathan took longer to arrive because he wasn't hiding under the counter at work and no friends were getting rid of him. But arrive he did. And with the exception of the fact that he's a banker, he pretty much ticked every box. He pretty much ticked every box you can get. Now, it's a risky game, this best man, best mate, bridesmaid, whatever I am deal, because Caroline asked me to do this job before I had even met Jonathan. So that was back in January, and we still hadn't met. So I met Jonathan, and I was quite relieved when I discovered he wasn't a complete banker. And actually, it's pretty great. So it's a lovely thing. It's a really lovely thing to have met him and to see it come together, to see two people meet and to see two people find one another, knowing that you were both looking in ways you didn't even know you were looking, you know. And it's a lovely thing. And now here we are, and this day, this entire day, and all of you being here, I think is testimony to Jonathan's luck and to Caroline's cosmic ordering skills. And I felt like I wanted to have some fun with the cosmic ordering thing because I think that weddings are quite unusual events. They're quite unusual days. There's something about a wedding which is, there's a very lovely feel-good factor in the room. I really don't want to use the words love in the room because it's too cheesy, but there is a lovely thing about weddings where everybody in this room is here because you care about these two people, okay? The fact they met, the fact they connected, the fact that they have found ways to merge their families together, the fact that many of you are strangers, and yet you'll find such an affinity with each other and something to talk about, and it's a really lovely thing, and it creates a real warmth and strength in the room, and I wanted to kind of play with that. And I think that feel-good factor that comes from weddings is apparent in so many ways, from the fact that strangers can talk so easily to the way that people dance on the dance floor at a wedding. We'll all be up. If we're in the mood for dancing, that is, by the way. If we're in the mood for dancing, whether or not the Nolans make an appearance. The way that people dance at weddings, everything about it just indicates everybody has one common goal, which is the love and well-being of these two people. So I wanted to play with that. So as a wee wedding gift, I've made you both this box, okay? Now, there's a guest book, and I know there's a guest book, and I would ask you all to please be sure that you sign the guest book, because the guest book is a way to all acknowledge your presence here and take a selfie of yourself, and so that can be put in the guest book, because that is a record of this beautiful, beautiful day. This box does not replace the guest book, but I don't know what to call it. Is it a marriage box? Is it a life box? It's a way for you all to just say what you would like and wish for this beautiful couple, these friends of yours. There's a little post box on the top of it. And Jonathan, I know that today is your wedding day and not a list of cliches, John, as the Nolan sisters might imply. But please put in this box the things you wish for these people that you love. Please put in this box your memories of today, and trusting that you two are not going to turn into a pair of smug marrieds in a kind of Bridget Jones type way. Put in as well, please, your words of wisdom that you can offer them, because I know there's people in this room that have been married for 30 years and are making it work. You spoke, Bill, about how you've made this work. There are so many people here who have been doing this for years. So words of wisdom, because in your vows, there's talk about the small faults, which we all have. Memories, the things you wish for this beautiful pair, and words of wisdom that you can offer these guys. Please put them in the box. So there's another wee box with paper. So there's paper and pens, and it'll be up on one of the tables somewhere. Please put into the wee box anything that you want to say to this pair. And that's, I think, all I want to say. I now get to say the fun words, which is, can you all be upstanding, please? Woohoo! I get to say these words. Wishing you both all the love, all the warmth, the courage to take what you have given each other, and asking you to remember to love each other, because it's easy to do the loving bit, but remembering to love each other 10 years, 20 years down the line. Wishing you everything but the best. So much laughter, so much warmth, so much joy, giggling, adventures, and dancing to the Nolans. Hypnotherapist to the Nolans. Dancing and having fun, and remember to love each other. To Caroline and Jonathan. The adorable couple.